Welcome to Becoming MindStrong, the official podcast of MindStrong Fitness. My name is Rachel. I'm the owner and head coach of MindStrong Fitness, and I am here to teach you truth. No more bullshit, no more point systems, no more shakes, no more raps. This is math and science, and we're going to learn how to do it together. Ready? Let's rock and roll. Welcome to episode 11 of Becoming MindStrong, and today's topic is so much bigger than just health and fitness, but it's one that comes up for a lot of people as they start doing consistent workouts and as they start getting their nutrition in check. But it's something that once you see it, you can't unsee it because it is such a hashtag bigger life statement. And we're talking about perfectionism. Before we jump into this conversation, I want to give a little disclaimer. When I talk about perfectionism, I tend to be pretty blunt. And my motivation for doing that is not to knock anyone down. It's not to tell anyone that they're wrong. It's because perfectionism is a topic that I struggled with for years and years. And as I did the work and as I continue to do the work, I'm a very big believer in the fact that we have to shine the light of awareness on what perfectionism truly is and isn't before we can start to make these changes. So before we jump too deep into our conversation, I want to start by telling you a little story. When I was a kid, my brother Jason and I both used to play baseball competitively. He played baseball, I played softball. And my dad had a favorite saying when it came to both baseball and life. And that saying was, you touch, you catch. And what that meant was this: if you could get close enough for your glove to get on the ball, there was absolutely no reason why you couldn't catch it. You touch, you catch. And it was such a bigger life statement. What he was really saying was, we don't half-ass in this family. If you're going to do something, pardon my French, you're going to fucking do it. You touch, you catch. And that was great in a lot of ways. I developed a crazy serious work ethic. I can put my head down and get work done. A lot of positive things came out of that you touch, you catch mentality. The other thing it did, though, was it created this label for myself. I became the person who gets shit done. If I am going to touch it, I am going to catch it. Otherwise, there's no point in even starting. It became this total all-in, all-out mentality of if I'm going to do something, I'm going to fucking do it, or I'm not going to do it at all. And a story Amanda likes to tell about this topic is when she and I first started dating, we went somewhere with a billiards table, a pool table. And at that point in my life, I hadn't played pool in years. But back in college, I used to work in a place called the Pool Store. And funny enough, we sold swimming pools in the summer and billiard tables, pool tables in the winter. So in our downtime, we would play billiards for hours, and I was a really good pool player. But now all these years later, I sucked. I hadn't played in years. So we're out and she sees this pool table. She asks me if I want to play, and I'm like, absolutely not. And she's like, why not? It'll be fun. We'll play. Absolutely not. Because in my mind, there was no point in doing it if I wasn't as good as I used to be. If I couldn't catch the ball, I wasn't even going to touch it. And it was such a humorous, but not a very prime example of this all-in, all-out mentality and this label that I'd created for myself of I am the person who gets shit done, and if I can't do it, I'm not even going to start. And this is where we're going to begin our conversation about perfectionism. Here's the problem. So many of us, and I'm saying us because I include myself in this for years and years and years before I shine the light of awareness, so many of us use perfectionism as a badge of honor. We walk around saying, oh, I can't do that, I'm a perfectionist, or oh, this will drive me nuts because I'm a perfectionist. And we believe deep down that's a pro, that's a plus to our personalities, that we have to do everything perfectly. And here was the big light bulb moment for me that I hope it is for you as well. Perfectionism is fear-based. And I'm going to say that again. Perfectionism is fear-based. And here's what I mean by that. Perfectionism comes from these self-imposed labels. Mine was, I'm the person that gets shit done. That is a label that I put on myself. So if I am not the person who gets shit done, who am I? It becomes a much bigger life statement, right? It's not just a matter of, oh, am I going to play pool or not? Oh, am I going to start a business or not? Oh, am I going to go do X, Y, or Z or not? It becomes this identity crisis of what if I try this and I don't live up to this self-imposed label that I have put on myself? Then who am I? Then I'm no longer the person who gets shit done. Then I'm no longer blank, whatever your self-imposed label is. And that is a form of fear. It's a form of, how are other people going to see us? Are people going to call me X, Y, and Z when I believe I'm really A, B, and C? It is fear-based and it is holding us back. I see it all the time in health and fitness. When people start a workout routine or they start tracking their nutrition and they consider themselves a person who just crushes everything that they put their hands on, right? So they're killing their goals for 3 days and then day 4 comes along and they don't crush it. They're not doing what they normally do. Well, now it's an identity crisis. Now it's, who am I on this journey? Because I'm usually so good about things. And there's a very clear indicator for when you're having one of those moments. If you catch yourself saying to someone, I'm usually the person who, I'm the kind of person who, what you're doing is you're rationalizing, you're explaining to them, well, I didn't crush my goals this day, but I usually blah, blah, blah. It's not okay that you weren't perfect. It's not okay that you were human and messed up, because according to your self-imposed definition, you're not allowed to do that. That's not who you are. That doesn't fit with your label. That doesn't fit with your self-identity. So here's how we start in this journey. Step 1 is we have to shine the light of awareness. This is the answer whether we're talking about nutrition, whether we're talking about limiting beliefs, whether we're talking about self-imposed labels. We have to shine the light of awareness. And that is a very simple but very effective process. What is your label? You can write it down, you can say it out loud, you can brainstorm a list, because chances are there are way more than one. But it's as simple as saying, I am the person who blank. Fill in that blank. For me, it's easy. I am the person who gets shit done. And my self-imposed labels have come because of that. And my perfectionism that I struggled with for years and years came about because of that. There were years where I desperately wanted to start a business and I wouldn't do it. And I told myself a million reasons why, because I didn't want to get consumed with it, because I didn't want to work that many hours a day. But when I got real, the answer was, what if it wasn't successful? I'm the person that gets shit done. So if my business is not successful, it's not just a failed business. It's a failed self-identity. I am no longer the person who gets shit done. And then I don't know who I am. What is your label? I am the person who blank. That's step 1, is simply recognizing it, is simply shining the light of awareness on it. Now, there's a couple ways to go about it once we identify this label. And let's be super clear. This is not an exercise that's one and done. This is not something you do once and suddenly you're cured of your perfectionism. First, we shine the light of awareness, and then we start taking the steps. And the first step is to recognize, is to fully embrace the fact that this is self-imposed. This is a self-imposed label. Nobody else in this universe was walking around saying, oh, Rachel's the person who gets shit done. Nobody thought that. Yeah, there were hints of it, right? My friends knew they could rely on me. People that I did whatever form of business I was in at the time knew that they could come to me and rely on me. But nobody is walking around judging me of, oh, Rachel's the person who gets shit done, but she didn't get this done. So who is? Nobody's thinking that much about you or your labels. So the first step is to recognize that this is a self-imposed label. You are literally the only human on the face of the earth who is putting this label on yourself and holding yourself to these standards, right? If you consider yourself a person who does everything perfectly, who sets a goal and crushes it every time, okay? Imagine this. Let's say that's your label. And you are starting your nutrition journey, you're tracking your food, you're sticking to your macro goals, you are crushing it. And then you have an off day. You go to a party, it's your birthday, you go to a family event, whatever it is, but you're off your macros for a day. So you go to your best friend, and now it's like this big confession. Oh my God, I didn't stick to my macros, but I'm usually the person who crushes things, so I don't know why I let this get away from me, because normally if I set a goal, I just crush it. I don't know what happened today. You give every rationalization for why this happened. To you, it's a huge deal. To you, this totally goes against the identity that you've made up for yourself. But let's be honest, what is your friend thinking? Right? You already know what your friend is going to say to you. They're going to say, okay, you're human. Everyone has a day like that. You're going to get right back on. It's not a big deal. But to you, it is a big deal because you are not everyone. You are the person who does everything perfectly. So why is it okay to everyone else but not to you? Because you have put the self-imposed label on yourself that you are not allowed to be human, that's what makes you special, that your perfectionism is a badge of honor. In reality, your perfectionism is fear-based. It's an excuse to quit. It's an excuse to, when you hit that point and you realize that nutrition is not all or nothing, that you are never going to be perfect with your workouts. Instead of embracing that fact and saying, you know what? That's the process. That's how this works. I am always going to have days where I crush it and days where I fuck up. Instead of embracing that, it's no, well, this is not for me. If I can't be perfect at it, then I'm just not going to do it. And this is such a common roadblock. But instead of recognizing for what it is, for the fact that it is holding you back, we wear it as a badge of honor and say, oh, I can't track macros because I'm too much a perfectionist. But where does that get you? That gets you in the same cycle that you've been caught in your whole life. So step one is to simply recognize my label is I am the person who blank, and then to recognize that this is a self-imposed label. Nobody is putting that label on you except for you. Step two is to change that label. You're the one who made it up, so you're the one who holds all the power to change it. What if you're not that person? Right? For me, it was a huge mindset shift. And yes, I'm the person who gets shit done when it's something I'm passionate about. But what if I'm the person who gets shit done when it's something I'm passionate about and I can be goofy and carefree and not really care if it's something that's not that important for me? What if I'm the person who gets shit done, but I also like to take crazy amounts of risks and push outside my comfort zone to where I don't know if I can get shit done? And this is where we start to get into the deeper mindset work, right? You want to talk about starting a business. If my label is I'm the person who gets shit done, I am never going to push outside my comfort zone. Because if I go outside my comfort zone, I don't know if I can get shit done. And then what? Now I've just destroyed my whole self-identity. That's how deep this stuff gets. That's why it's so important to identify our labels and do this work, because this is what's holding you back. Whether we're talking about health and fitness, whether we're talking about starting a business, whether we're talking about your relationships, these self-imposed labels that your perfectionism is rooted from, this is what's holding you back. So we've recognized our labels. We've recognized that they're self-imposed. Now we start to do the work to rewrite our labels. You're the one who created these labels, so you're the one who gets to tweak them and who gets to come up with new labels, or who gets to get rid of labels altogether to unleash your life. But to do that, we have to get super clear on the fact that perfectionism is not a badge of honor. Perfectionism does not make you better than other people. Perfectionism, hear me now, perfectionism is not the reason you are successful in life. Perfectionism is fear-based. It's a fear of judgment. It's a fear of people viewing you differently than these labels that you've put on yourself and how you want to be viewed. And it is the number one thing that's holding you back. So this takes practice. This takes time. This takes consistency. Just like nutrition, just like workouts. You are going to have to catch yourself constantly, but it becomes a fun little game, because once you shine that light of awareness on it, you can't unsee it. And every time that you feel that block to go do something new, or you feel yourself rationalizing for why you did or didn't do something, you can pause, you can breathe, and you could recognize, oh, hey, there you are, my little fear-based perfectionism. There you are, trying to keep me in my bubble, trying to keep me in my comfort zone, and you're doing it because you don't want me to lose my self-identity. But you know what? I made up that identity. I made up that label, and I'm the one who gets to rewrite it. We start by shining the light of awareness, getting super clear on our labels. I'm the person who blank. Fill in the blank 100 times if that's what it takes, because chances are you have more than one label. Recognize that it's self-imposed. You made this up, and quite honestly, nobody else cares about your label. It is what you have decided, and come hell or high water, you will design your life to fit in that bubble. So recognize that it is your doing, and only you can change it. And then step 3, let it go completely or rewrite it. You could still keep a part of that. If it's serving you, keep it, right? I'm the person who gets shit done. That serves me really well in some areas of my life. So I chose to rewrite it to include the fact that I can take big, scary risks, to include the fact that I don't have to be the best at everything I do and I can be goofy and I can suck at things and I can try new things. Rewrite it so it serves your purposes, but stop wearing perfectionism as a badge of honor. Stop letting it control your life. Recognize that it is fear, that it is self-imposed, and that only you have the power to change it. For more information on MindStrong Fitness, visit www.mindstrongfitness.com.